Hi guys, welcome to my channel and welcome to a new video. For this video we have one topic, but this topic have other topics. Yeah, the topic is the future, specifically the future. But I am going to explain about the going to, the will, the future perfect continuous, the future perfect, the going to, and yeah, let's start. Present continuous. For the structure, we use the subject plus the verb to be plus the present participle in the verb ing and finally the complement. For the function, we use the present continuous to establish arrangements or actions about to start in the future. Examples: this summer we are traveling to Tarija. Explorers are discovering new species deep within the ocean. Laura is planning a surprise party for her friend next Sunday. She isn't baking a cake for her cousin's birthday. The party is later today. Modal verb going to. For the going to, the structure. For affirmative form, we use the subject verb to be plus the going to and finally the complement. Example: I am going to travel. For the affirmative form, we only put the not between the verb to be and going to. Example: I am not going to travel. And finally, for the question, we use first the verb to be, then the subject, then the going to, and finally the complement. Example: I am going to travel. Function: we use the going to express intentions, predictions, or comments focusing on a decision. Example: Sarah isn't going to study abroad next year to improve her language skills. Other example: my friend Gloria is going to adopt a dog from the shelter next month. Is it going to rain this afternoon? Our volleyball team is going to win the national championship. And finally, my sister is going to finish reading a math book over the weekend. The modal verb will structure. For the affirmative form, we use subject, will, verb, and complement. Example: she will arrive on time. The form contract is shall. A negative form, we use subject, will, not, then the verb, and finally the complement. Example: she won't arrive on time. Want is the form contract for the will and not. And finally the question, we use firstly will, then subject, then the verb, and finally the complement. Example: will she arrive on time? Function: we use will plus base form for the same function as be plus going to, but it is expressed more certainty, focusing on facts. Examples: I will watch the new movie by Haikyuu with my sister. Other examples: I will not be ready in 10 minutes, wait for me 30 more minutes. You will go to the book fair this year with me. Will Lucas and Anna have enough time to finish this assignment today? Will Maria bring her camera to capture the beautiful sunset? Modal verb future continuous. For the future continuous in the structure, for affirmative form, we use the subject will be, not only will be, plus the present participle and finally the complement. Example: I will be running. A negative form, we use subject, will not, be, present participle, and finally the complement. Example: I will not be running. And finally the question, will firstly, then subject, then be, then present participle, and finally the complement. Example: will I be running? Yeah, the function. refers to an unfinished action or event that will be in progress at a time later than now. Examples: I will be watching my favorite show until daytime dinner. Other examples: at this time next month, my cousin will be starting his new job. Next month, Martha won't be participating in the marathon due to injury. We won't be attending the music festival, but we will watch in the TV. Will Sam and Michael be visiting the museum on Saturday? Modal verb future perfect. For the structure, we use firstly the subject, then will have. Have is the auxiliary. Then the past participle, then the complement. Example: I will have wrote. For the negative form, we use subject, will, not, and then have. Then past participle, and finally the complement. Example: I will not have wrote. And the question: firstly, we use the will, then the subject, then have, then past participle, and finally the complement, and obviously the question mark. Example: will I have root? Function. The future perfect refers to a completed action in the future which is usually is defined by a time expression. Examples: by this time next week I will have read 3 books. Other examples: the manga artist will have published the latest chapter by next month. The plants will have grown lush and green after the rain. The historic architecture of Paris will not be overshadowed by modern skyscrapers. And finally, will we have a chance to visit the fjords during our trip to Norway? Modal verb future perfect continuous. For the structure, we use subject, will have been, then the present participle, and finally the complement. Example: I will have been living. A negative form. For the negative form, we use the subject, will not, have been, present participle, and finally the complement. I will not have been living. And finally the question. Firstly will, then the subject, then the have been, then present participle, and finally the complement with a question mark. Example: will I have been living? Function refers to events or actions that are currently unfinished but will be finished at some future time. Examples: deforestation will not have been halted despite environmental concerns. Second, by 2012, my uncle will have been living in Spain for 12 years. Third, he will not have been practicing the piano for 10 hours at a time. And fifth, will they not have been preparing for the exam 4 weeks before it?